Okay, and it's live. Hi everyone, I'm Alex Lopez from the Reading Corner for All, and today we're going to be doing our first ever reading vlog of Miss Meteor in collaboration with Hear Our Voices Tours. So far from the book, what I'm gauging, it's about a small town by the name of Meteor who still has a ways to go to live up to its truly stellar name. It has a girl that's made of stars and maybe something else, and a beauty pageant that might just surprise the entire inhabitants of the town. So I'm really excited to read it. I've had this book on my TBR for a while, so I'm just like, okay, I am ready. Right now it is, what day are we on? Sorry, I work a lot during the week, so I lose track of time. This is Sunday. Okay, I just remembered. This is Sunday. So it's Sunday, and it's 7:30. Okay, all right. So it's Sunday on. Okay, so it's Sunday. 7:30, and yes, people do get up that early on Sundays, especially me. Apparently, FYI, I start work really early, like 4 a.m. early, so for me this is late. So after sleeping in late on my Sunday, I am really stoked to get started. This is going to be one of those cozy, really homey reading vlogs, at least I hope so. Right now I am ready for the occasion in my star long sleeve jammies and ready to enter the town of Meteor. And right now I'm just thinking I'm probably one of the only Californians that will wear a long sleeve in summer when it's 118 degrees outside. So this is my first reading vlog, and although I read books kind of fast, I'm going to try to break it down into series of segments so that I can, pause, reflect, and give you guys an update on how the book is going so far, my personal opinions of it, and just some thoughts that occur in total throughout the book. So I'm really stoked to get started. Alrighty guys, so here we are starting the EARC copy of the book, and just a couple of reflections on the book cover. I really like the usage of mirrors that they have here in the two characters. I'm assuming these girls are the two main characters, and I'm excited to know who is who through the process of the book. And I don't know, I just like the idea of these two characters. You see the reflections of them rather than their actual persona, because this is how the external forces in the world usually see people through reflections or through their own personal eyes. They don't really see what's going on underneath. So I look forward to seeing how they develop on the characters throughout the story. I'm going to assume that she is a star girl because she has the stars in her as earrings, but I don't want to assume. I look forward to finding out. And let's see, what else can we spot here? Okay, so that's a cupcake. We'll find out what the topping is. We have some little matchsticks that say Selena's Diner. We have some cacti, some roses. Might I also say that I also love the tagline for the book. Their chances may be as small as their hometown, but their dreams are out of this world. You go, girls. I think that's an excellent motto for everyone to have. I come from a small town too, so I think I relate to that. Okay, guys and gals, so I just finished reading a couple of chapters in the book, and so far, wow, it's been quite the experience. I like it. I love that the book is alternating between two voices, which is Lita and Chicky. And what I really like about the author so far is how they're really building up the persona of their main characters. Like, just right off the bat, like the first page was, wow, like the character description of Lita, who is our beautiful star girl, and how she describes how she came to Earth with a meteorite is just like, wow, it was a really moving line. Like, it's just so cool, like that whole section right there that, and I have it right here. I'm not sure if I can show it. I have it right here, but it's a really moving line. It made a really good impression on me, and how Lita's reflections are, I'm trying to see how I can summarize this, how she's saying how she doesn't really remember how she changed from being a star to a girl, and then she says, oh, but but no one really remembers being born. And it's like, oh wow, that's a really, really cool reflection. And at least through Lita's perspective, she really talks about her environment a lot and what her observations are from the town of Meteor, and how she feels very much ingrained in their in the town's culture and in everything that the town represents. And she even has this whole band of cacti friends, and it's really cool because it's like, oh, like I have yet to see if, and it's really cool because it's like, so far I'm seeing it like as a blend of Isabel Allande's. I hope I'm saying her name right. She's a great writer. I'm gonna put a cover of one of her books here because it's a really cool blend of fantasy and realism that reminds me a lot of this book. And it's really interesting because you, as a reader, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm going to accept this as a fact. Like Lita can talk to cacti, and she has like names for them, and she kind of gets vibes off of them on how they're feeling and their different personalities. And whether this might just be like her creative imagination, I'll still be looking out for it throughout the book. But I just thought, okay, that's kind of what I like about. What I mean to say is, what I like about the authors is that they're already setting the reader up for a lot of acceptance to what is already going to unfold within the town, if that makes sense. And it kind of like for me, what I like about it is that it's having me not take things at face value. It's having me just be like, okay, be open to the story, see where it goes, see where this star girl and her adventures in her journey take her throughout the book. Okay, I think it's time for my second thought of the book so far. And what I wrote it down in my notes is the topic of the self, like how we have our own self-reflections of what we perceive our persona as and what our societal external forces see our persona as. For instance, in reference to what I mentioned earlier about, just right from the cover talk, a segment about the mirrors, Lita's talking a lot about her best friend, Chicky, who was her best friend, Chicky, and they kind of had this fallout. And Lita thinks it has to do with how she is a fading star, so to speak, because she is starting to get like patches of stars and basically like it sounds like her human form is deteriorating and she's like turning back to her original form as a star or something like that. So it's like you can see how conscious she is of her own human state. And Lita's narrative really ties in well with Chicky's narrative, who sees herself as the tomboy of the family, who has her short hair and flannel outfits. And while the rest of her sisters are very girly, very feminine, she already sees herself as the outcast of the family because of her own identity that she's still finding a way to kind of compartmentalize it, so to speak, or at least to find a word for it, I guess, a way to feel comfortable with her own self. Okay, and I think here is where I'd like to talk about a third topic that I wrote down, which is family tradition and just the idea of tradition in general. Chicky's family is very much founded in tradition, from the home cooking that they make to what they present at Selena's Diner to give it a very authentic, very homey feel, just to the namesakes, to Chicky and the Quintanilla sisters, that their names were bestowed upon them from an elder or a family member who, no matter what name they chose, they have to stick with it because that's family tradition that's passed down from generations. And I'm interested to see how the theory of tradition plays out so I'm really interested to see how the idea of tradition plays out in the story. And from the looks of it, Chicky is already outside of the quote-unquote norm, if you can say that there is a norm, because I think in itself the word normal is a problematic word, but anyway, personal opinion, of course. Moral of the story is I'm interested to see how Chicky breaks free from the quote unquote traditional um, aspects of her family, her culture, and her town herself, because she seems like a very layered character. And I look forward to seeing to what degree they take her character, or what sort of journey to break free from tradition or known establishments, or again, quote unquote, social norms that Chicky is going to end up challenging. Okay, there we go. So California heat got a little bit of the better of me, so no more long sleeves for today. But right now I'm about halfway through the book, and it's been, oh my gosh, it's been so good. So I think I got so ahead with reading the book. I'm now going to take the time to do the reflections about the book. Sure enough, we're getting to see more about Lita and Chicky's characters, especially Chicky. You see how she's opening about her own experiences, how she's treated in the school by the bullies and people who are, you know, more interested in talking about others than focusing on themselves. And it's like, oh, like, she talks about a school incident that she had when she was a child with a ring pop, and how there was a really cruel name that stuck around with her that entangled, or not entangled, that associated the incident with bullying. And since she's not really certain about her own identity, she talks about being pansexual in a very beautiful paragraph, that it means so many things, but it's still something that she's herself is still defining, and to see how it applies to her. And it's like, oh man, like my thought there was, the world is so cruel in how it's very ruthless at times. It doesn't really let you just be you. It doesn't let you be. And then you have characters like this who are struggling to come to terms with what they're comfortable with, and they're still forced to come out of their shells way before their time, or if not, they're harassed, or they feel more belittled by what they have yet to identify themselves as. So it's just, oh, like that was a heart-wrenching part, honestly. That was just, and especially since you see the development of how their Chicky is treated by her classmates, by her town, and she only has her friend Lita and her family to support her, and she can't even talk to them about it because, again, she's not still ready to talk about that. And I think that's another very key topic that the authors have touched upon, and that's not only understanding, but allowing people their space, allowing people to have time to just open up about themselves, and letting people feel comfortable about who they are. And I am so rooting for Lita to be able to stay on Earth. Like on another note, you see how much, like, the contrast about how Chicky just wants to escape from everything. She seems like a character who just wants to, like, disappear, to just be, like, in the background, to not have anyone bother her. And then on the other hand, you have a character like Lita, who is slowly becoming more of the stardust that she was made from, and she wants to be able to experience everything she can here on Earth, and she loves so much about it, especially her connection to her best friend, who she's finally reconnecting with after all this time. But as readers, we know why Chicky kind of pushed her away and is reserved. But of course, the main character doesn't know why yet. And I hope she does. I really hope she does, because it would be so cool for her to be able to confide in Lita. But anyway, so it's a really good duality of narratives, and how you see that Lita wants to take on the world, basically. And she wants to start by taking down the Miss Meteor beauty pageant, which is not only empowering, but it's also very inspiring that she is a very reserved character, and she's willing to do that. She's willing to try whatever it takes to just make herself happy and make herself feel that she accomplished everything that she wanted to on her time on Earth. I suppose another thought that I have that correlates to Lita and how she's very much putting herself out there, that, oh, hold on, my little puppies are outside, 1 second.
Look at the little voice. Hey puppies, come back in. It's not like I was filming anything or something like that. Look, the lovely California sun, always shining. Focus. Marley, sit. Good boy. Easy. Here you go. Good boy. And now for the little boy. Whew. Marley, don't knock into your brother like that. Nico. That's Nico-chan, and this is big boy Marley. Oops. Hold on. Come here, boy. Here you go. Yummy! All right, back to the book vlog.
So as I was saying before I was cutely interrupted, Alita's a very big inspiration. That was another one of my thoughts while reading the book, because she's making the most out of her time. Even though she's a very reserved person, she's still willing to put herself out there. She's still willing to give things a try, and that's something, for instance, the beauty pageant is something she always wanted to try to do. And oftentimes we put ourselves off from doing things, or we dissuade ourselves from doing something, and sometimes it's just you have to go for it. And that's what I liked about Lita's character, that she's willing to do something way outside her norm, but she has that mentality of, if you really want to do something, then you have to follow your dreams. So update, and here's another thought of the book. If you guys hear squeaks, it's my little chimrens. We have the upstairs that houses Laika and Ghibli, and then we have the downstairs where we have Wyndham and Chaplin. They're they're more interested in going outside, which they will. They'll have their playtime. But I think because they see me, they're like, "Oh, there's our food provider. Oh, there's the one that takes us outside. Squeak, squeak." So something else I'm liking about the book so far is how authentic it feels. The authors are very much able to connect with their characters, and because of that, there is, as I mentioned, a very big sense of authenticity from everything regarding their environment, the small town that they're living in, to the character development and how they're portraying themselves, and the rest of the characters that surround their town. I wouldn't call them necessarily minor characters, but what I thought that was interesting about the book is that usually books come with a cast of minor characters that help the protagonist in one way or another, or serve as a antagonist. But what I like about these friends is that they're truly supporting characters, and I mean that in a lot of different aspects, from how Chiki's sisters how Chiki's sisters are helping her and Lita try to just shine in the competition, to Cole, Lita's friend, who right now I'm thinking Cole has a thing for Lita, but I want to let it go organically. I'm really hoping those two, I ship them with all my heart. They are precious. Anyway, um, and they're just there because they are good friends, because there is no other alternative motive behind anything, and they're truly there just to support Lita and Chiki and just help them go on with what they're trying to accomplish, and help make sure that they themselves are okay in the midst of everything that is going on in the town and everything that's going on in the school. So I think it's really cool that the authors made the distinction between the background characters and supporting characters. So that's not really something that we see very much in books nowadays. So, update, I have just been absorbing everything that has to do with Miss Meteor, and oh my gosh, like, it's just, I can't even, oh my gosh, it's so good. Like it's hard for me to stop. Like, I thought doing this reading blog is like, okay, cool, I'll just comment on the book here and there, but that's my thing. I love just reading through the book, and it's like, don't forget to take a break, and anyway, so good. Um, so another topic that came up through the book, it's being yourself, and I don't mean it to sound like a cliche, but uh, Lita as a character, she very much embodies this. Spirit being herself is what she excels at. Like, we got into a part in the book where they're having the beauty pageant meet and greet, and Lita's such a, like, oh, like, okay, you know Mia Thermopolis from the Princess Diaries and her cute little clumsiness. Yeah, Lita is charmingly like a klutz. Like, she's oh my god. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just processing that scene. where she goes to the meet and greet, and she's there looking fabulous. Like the Quintanilla sisters, Chiqui's sisters did a great job with making sure she just looks like the dynamo that she is, and everything's doing okay. Like she's strutting her self, her confidence is up, and then of course something happens. I'm not gonna say what. I'm gonna let you read it for yourself, but it's like, oh my gosh, really, poor thing. But like you see it and you're just like, oh my gosh, no, because Lita and Chicky are characters that you just like want to hold in your hand and just like protect with everything that you have. But and at this point you think, oh my gosh, no, is this gonna be the end? Is this gonna like be some huge like character letdown? What impact is this gonna have on them? So yeah, like you think that's gonna be the end of the character, that's gonna destroy the self-confidence that she's been able to build up in herself. But what I love about Lita and what the authors did is that she, of course, she's mortified by what happened, but instead of just letting herself just completely succumb to that, she's like, you know what? I can own this. I can own myself. This is a part of who I am. And I was just like, yes, yes. Like, what I love about this book is its characters, the topic. It just makes you go, yes, go, go, go. Like, it really makes you root for the characters and wish them the very best. And you're just like, okay, what happens to the very end? And even though I'm still like, I want to protect them, I just want them to be okay. You're still like, oh, you have to let them go out in the world. You have to let them be free, you know? So you have to kind of just let things happen sometimes. I'm like talking about them as if they're like real people right now, but they are real to me. They're very real right now and in this moment. And to kind of bridge from my original thought is that they're both very realistic contemporary characters, aside from, Lita being part star. I think that readers are definitely going to be able to identify with what the characters are going through, like Lita with her. I think if I want to put it in a nutshell, her wish to do everything she can during her time here and be comfortable with herself and be able to help her best friend, which is Chicky, to be able to be okay, just to make sure that if she does turn into a star and returns back to her original form, that everyone around her is going to be okay, including her surrogate mother, her family, the found family that she has encountered through the town. And it's a very commendable act, and that's something I think that we can all relate to. We all just want those that we care for to be okay. And same with Chicky. She's someone who is still discovering who she is, and goodness knows, I mean, if someone knows 100% that they know who they are, they know everything about themselves, I'd love to meet them. Because I mean, or maybe I just speak for myself. I feel like I'm still learning things about myself. I feel like my own character's still evolving. But what I love about Chiki's journey is that she's still coming to terms with herself. She is still, like what she said way early on in the book about her identity, that being, for instance, pansexual was a beautiful word that meant so many different things, and she was still defining it like Chiki's still defining herself. And I loved that idea, and I think that transcends to every single reader. So in the book we just got to a very quintessential part of every single high schooler experience, a party. And not just a little get together with friends, but the whole popular kid party that is explosive, and those are the things that people usually remember in their glory days later on of the adolescent experience. And what was cool about this scene is that you'd think, oh no, like, these characters who are pretty low key, who have never really been to things like this, it's just going to be an awful experience. But instead, if you guys remember what I was mentioning about supporting characters, well, there's a character within the book by the name of Cole. He is just really amazing at sports. He aces a lot of different sports, and he's a really popular guy. And he is one of the first openly transgender people within the town. He's really popular because of his abilities in his proficiency in sports. And what I liked about the authors is that instead of putting a trope of the popular character who doesn't really care about the happenings of people who are less popular than themselves, Cole instead is a very, very humble character who instead very much empathizes with people like Lita and Chicky, and it just goes out of their way to be kind of like their knight in shining armor type thing, where he sees an injustice, let alone from his older sister, or his sister who is one of the main bullies in this book. He's not afraid to point things out when they are wrong or they are unjust, and you see those dynamics that are coming out way more throughout the book, and they finally did come to fruition. I had a feeling that Cole and Leah had a thing going. I knew it. I was hoping for it because it was so cute. Oops, sorry. That Cole, that being said, Cole still did give a lot of leeway, like to his sister, because that's his sister and he cares for her, or his best friend as well. But it comes to a point where injustices or outing people aren't something you can really overlook, or something that you can really embrace as a part of someone else. And it comes to a point where Cole finally stood up, like completely for Lita after something his best friend said. And it was just such an empowering moment where you see everyone unifying and the support group truly becoming a big unison extended family. And I thought that that was a really cool message too, of people coming together and being able to see something that's not right and just saying no, we have to put a stop to it in some way. So that was really cool. I thought that was a very good highlighting moment.